If you enjoy this audiobook, and you'd like to support me directly, please check out my Ko-fi link in the description below. The Kojiki, translated by Basil Hall Chamberlain. Records of Ancient Matters, Volume 1. Preface. I, Yasumoto, say, now when chaos had begun to condense, but force and form were not yet manifest, and there was not named, not done, who could know its shape? Nevertheless, heaven and earth first parted, and the three deities performed the commencement of creation. The passive and active essences then developed, and the two spirits became the ancestors of all things. Therefore did he enter obscurity and emerge into light, and the sun and moon were revealed by the washing of his eyes. He floated on and plunged into the seawater, and heavenly and earthly deities appeared through the ablutions of his person. So in the dimness of the great commencement, we, by relying on the original teaching, learned the time of the conception of the earth and the birth of the islands, and the remoteness of the original beginning. We, by trusting the former sages, perceive the era of the genesis of deities and the establishment of men. Truly do we know that a mirror was hung up, that jewels were spat out, and that then 100 kings succeeded each other, that a blade was bitten, and a serpent cut in pieces, so that a myriad deities did flourish. By deliberations in the tranquil river the empire was pacified, by discussions on the little shore the land was purified. Wherefore his Augustness Ho no ni Nigi first descended to the peak of Takachi, and the heavenly sovereign Kamu Yamato did traverse the island of the dragonfly. A weird bear put forth its claws, and a heavenly saber was obtained at Takakura. They, with tails, obstructed the path, and a great crow guided him to Yashina. Dancing in rows, they destroyed the brigands, and listening to a song, they vanquished the foemen. Being instructed in a dream, he was reverent to the heavenly and earthly deities, and was therefore styled the wise monarch. Having gazed on the smoke, he was benevolent to the black-haired people, and is therefore remembered as the emperor sage. Determining the frontiers and civilizing the country, he issued laws from the nearer Afumi, reforming the surnames and selecting the Gentile names. He held sway at the further Asuka. Though each differed in caution and in ardor, though all were unlike in accomplishments and in intrinsic worth, yet was there none who did not by contemplating antiquity correct manners that had fallen to ruin, and by illuminating modern times repaired laws that were approaching dissolution. In the august reign of the heavenly sovereign who governed the 8 great islands from the great palace of Kiyomihara at Asuka, the hidden dragon put on perfection. The reiterated thunder came at the appointed moment. Having heard a song in a dream, he felt that he should continue the succession. Having reached the water at night, he knew that he should receive the inheritance. Nevertheless, heaven's time was not yet, and he escaped like the cicada to the southern mountains. Both men and matters were favorable, and he marched like the tiger to the eastern land. Suddenly riding in the imperial palanquin, he forced his way across mountains and rivers. The 6 divisions rolled like thunder, the 3 hosts sped like lightning. The erect spears lifted up their might, and the bold warriors arose like smoke. The crimson flags glistened amongst the weapons, and the ill-omened crew were shattered like tiles. Or ere a day had elapsed, the evil influences were purified. Forthwith were the cattle let loose and the horses given repose. As with shouts of victory they returned to the flowery summer. The flags were rolled up, and the javelins put away. As with dances and chants they came to rest in the capital city. The year was that of the cock, and it was in the 2nd moon at the great palace of Kiyomihara did he ascend to the heavenly seat. In morality he outstripped Ken Ko. In virtue he surpassed Shiru O. Having grasped the 8 wildernesses, he held the mean between the 2 essences, and regulated the order of the 5 elements. He established divine reason herewith to advance good customs. He disseminated brilliant usages wherewith to make the land great. Moreover, the ocean of his wisdom, in its vastness, profoundly investigated the highest antiquity. The mirror of his heart, in its fervor, clearly observed former ages. Hereupon the heavenly sovereign commanded, saying, I hear that the chronicles of the emperors and likewise the original word in the possession of the various families deviate from exact truth, and are mostly amplified by empty falsehoods. If at the present time these imperfections be not amended, ere many years shall have elapsed, the purport of this, the great basis of the country, the grand foundation of the monarchy, will be destroyed. So now I desire to have the chronicles of the emperor selected and recorded, and the old words examined and ascertained, falsehoods being erased, and the truth determined in order to transmit to after ages. At that time there was a retainer whose surname was Hieda, and his personal name Ade. He was 28 years old, and of so intelligent a disposition that he could repeat with his mouth whatever met his eyes, and record in his heart whatever struck his ears. Forthwith Ade was commanded to learn by heart the genealogies of the emperors, and likewise the words of former ages. Nevertheless time elapsed, and the age changed, and the thing was not yet carried out. Prostrate, I consider how Her Majesty the Empress, having obtained unity, illumines the empire, being versed in the triad, nourishes the people. Ruling from the Purple Palace, her virtue reaches to the utmost limits of the horse's hoof marks. Dwelling amid the somber retinue, her influence illumines the furthest distance attained to by vessels' prows. The sun rises, and the brightness is increased. The clouds disperse, neither is there smoke. Never cease the historiographers from recording the good omens of connected stalks and double rice ears. Never for a single moon is the treasury without the tribute of continuous beacon fires and repeated interpretations. In fame, she must be pronounced superior to Boom Mei, in virtue more eminent than Ten Itsu. Hereupon, regretting the errors in the old words, and wishing to correct the misstatements in the former chronicles, she, on the 18th day of the 9th month of the 4th year of Wado, commanded me, Yasumaro, to select and record the old words learnt by heart by Hieda no Ade, according to the imperial decree, and dutifully to lift them up to her. In reverent obedience to the contents of the decree, I have made a careful choice, but in high antiquity both speech and thought were so simple that it would be difficult to arrange phrases and compose periods in the characters. To relate everything in an ideographic transcription would entail an inadequate expression of the meaning. To write altogether according to the phonetic method would make the story of events unduly lengthy. For this reason have I sometimes in the same sentence used the phonetic and ideographic systems conjointly, and have sometimes in one manner used the ideographic record exclusively. Moreover, where the drift of the words was obscure, I have by comments elucidated their signification, but need it be said that I have nowhere commented on what was easy. Again, in such cases as calling the surname Kusaka and the personal name written with the character Tarashi, I have followed usage without alteration. Altogether the things recorded commence with the separation of heaven and earth, and conclude with the August reign at Woharida. So from the deity, master of the August center of heaven, down to his Augustness, Prince Wave Limit Brave Cormorant Thatch meeting incompletely, makes the first volume. From the heavenly sovereign, Kamuyamato Ihare Biko, down to the August reign of Homuda, makes the second volume. From the Emperor Oho Sasaki, down to the Great Palace of Woharida, makes the third volume. Although I have written 3 volumes, which I reverently and respectfully present, I, Yasumaro, with true trembling and true fear, bow my head. Reverently presented by the court noble, Futo no Yasumaro, an officer of the upper division of the 5th rank and of the 5th order of merit, on the 28th day of the 1st noon, on the 5th year of Wado. Section 1. The Beginning of Heaven and Earth. The names of the deities that were born in the plane of high heaven when the heaven and earth began were the deity, master of the August center of heaven, next to the high August producing wondrous deity, next to the divine producing wondrous deity. These 3 deities were all deities born alone, and hid their persons. Young and like unto floating oil, drifted about Medusa-like, were the pleasant reed shoot Prince Elder deity, next to the heavenly eternally standing deity. These 2 deities were likewise born alone, and hid their persons. The 5 deities in the above list are separate heavenly deities. Section 2. The 7 divine generations. The names of the deities that were born next were the earthly eternally standing deity, next the luxuriant integrating master deity. These 2 deities were likewise deities born alone, and hid their persons. The names of the deities that were born next were the deity Mud Earth Lord, next his younger sister the deity Mud Earth Lady, next the germ integrating deity, next to his younger sister the life integrating deity, next the deity Elder of the Great Place, next his younger sister the deity Elder Lady of the Great Place, next the deity Perfect Exterior, next his younger sister the deity Oh Awful Lady, next the deity the Male Who Invites, next his younger sister the deity the Female Who Invites. From the earthly eternally standing deity down to the deity the Female Who Invites in the previous list are what are termed the 7 divine generations. Section 3. The Island of Onogoro. Hereupon all the heavenly deities commanded the 2 deities, His Augustness the Male Who Invites, and Her Augustness the Female Who Invites, ordering them to make, consolidate, and give birth to this drifting land. Granting to them an heavenly jeweled spear, they designed to charge them. So the 2 deities, standing upon the floating bridge of heaven, pushed down the jeweled spear and stirred with it. When they had stiffed the brine till it became thick and glutinous, and drew the spear up, the brine that dripped down from the end of the spear was piled up and became an island. This is the Island of Onogoro. Section 4. Courtship of the deities, the Male Who Invites and the Female Who Invites. Having descended from heaven onto this island, they saw to the erection of a heavenly august pillar. They saw to the erection of a hall of 8 fathoms. Then he, His Augustness, the man who invites, asked from his younger sister, the Augustness, the woman who invites, "In what manner was your body made?" She answered, saying, "My body has grown by growing, but there is one part that has not grown continuously." Then said His Augustness, the man who invites, "My body has grown as it grows, but there is one part that has grown that is superfluous. Therefore, will it be good for me to continuously graft this part of my body that has grown, superfluous, into this part of your body that has not grown, and procreate regions?" Her Augustness, the woman who invites, replied, "It will be good." Then said His Augustness, the man who invites, "What when it is so? I and you, the celestial August, going round the pillar and meeting each other, of the August parties, have made this pact." His Augustness, the man who invites, said, "You meet on the right side, I will meet you on the left." In absolute agreement when they went round, Her Augustness, the woman who invites, first said, "Oh, beautiful and lovely youth." Then His Augustness, the man who invites, said, "Oh, beautiful and lovely virgin." After each had finished their prayer, His Augustness, the man who invites, spoke to his sister, saying, "It is not fitting for a woman to speak first." Nevertheless, they began the work of procreation in the chamber, and gave birth to a son named Hirudin. This child they placed in a boat of reeds, and let it float away. Next they gave birth to the island of Aha. This likewise is not reckoned among their children. Section 5. Birth of the 8 Islands. Hereupon the 2 deities took counsel, saying, "The children to whom we have now given birth are not good. It will be best to announce this in the august place of the heavenly deities." They ascended forthwith to heaven and inquired of their Augustness of the heavenly deities. Then the heavenly deities commanded and found out by grand divination, and ordered them, saying, "They were not good because the woman spoke first. Descend back again and amend your words." So thereupon descending back, they again went round the heavenly August pillar as before. Thereupon his Augustness the male who invites spoke first, saying, "Ah, what a fair and lovely maiden." Afterwards his younger sister, her Augustness the female who invites, spoke, "Ah, what a fair and lovely youth." In this way, when they finished their prayer, they got together and gave birth to a child, the island of Ahanji, Ho no Sawake. Next they gave birth to the island of Futa no in Iyo. This island has one body and 4 faces, and each face has a name. So the land of Iyo is called Lovely Princess. The land of Sanuki is called Prince Good Boiled Rice. The land of Aha is called the Princess of Great Food. The land of Tosa is called Brave Good Youth. Next, they gave birth to the islands of Mitsugo, near Oki. Another name for which islands is Heavenly Great Heart Youth. This island likewise has one body and 4 faces, and each face has a name. So the land of Tsukushi is called White Sun Youth. The land of Toyo is called Luxuriant Sun Youth. The land of He is called Brave Sun, confronting luxuriant, wondrous Lord Youth. The land of Kumaso is called Brave Sun Youth. Next they gave birth to the island of Iki, another name for which is Heaven's One Pillar. Next they gave birth to the island of Tsu, another name for which is Heavenly Hand Net, Good Princess. Next they gave birth to the island of Sado. Next they gave birth to Great Yamato, the luxuriant island of the Dragonfly, another name for which is Heavenly August Sky, Luxuriant Dragonfly, Lord Youth. The name of the Land of the 8 Great Islands therefore originated in these islands having been born first. After that, when they had returned, they gave birth to the island of Koshima in Kibi, another name for which island is Brave Sun, Direction Youth. Next they gave birth to the island of Atsuki, another name for which is Oho Nude Hime. Next they gave birth to the island of Ohoshima, another name for which is Oho Tamaru Wake. Next they gave birth to the island of Hime, another name for which is Heaven's One Root. Next they gave birth to the island of Chika, another name for which is Heavenly Great Male. Next they gave birth to the islands of Fudago, another name for which is Heaven's 2 Houses. 6 islands in all from the island of Ko, in Kibi to the island of Heaven's 2 Houses. Section 6. Birth of the Various Deities. When they had finished giving birth to countries, they began afresh giving birth to deities. So the name of the deity they gave birth to was the deity Great Male of the Great Thing. Next they gave birth to the deity Rock Earth Prince. Next they gave birth to the deity Rock Nest Princess. Next they gave birth to the deity Great Door Sun Youth. Next they gave birth to the deity Heavenly Blowing Male. Next they gave birth to the deity Great House Prince. Next they gave birth to the deity Youth of the Wind Breath of the Great Male. Next they gave birth to the Sea Deity, whose name is the deity Great Ocean Possessor. Next they gave birth to the deity of the Water Gates, whose name is the deity Princess of Swift Autumn. Next they gave birth to his younger sister, the deity Princess of Swift Autumn. 10 deities in all, from the deity Great Male of the Great Thing to the deity Princess of Autumn. The names of the deities given birth to by these 2 deities, Prince of the Swift Autumn and Princess of the Swift Autumn, from their separate dominions of river and sea were the deity Foam Calm, next the deity Foam Waves, next the deity Bubble Calm, next the deity Bubble Waves, next the deity Heavenly Water Divider, next the deity Earthly Water Divider, next the deity Heavenly Water Drawing Gourd Possessor, next the deity Earthly Water Drawing Gourd Possessor, 8 deities in all, from the deity Foam Prince to the deity Earthly Water-Drawing Gourd Possessor. Next they gave birth to the deity of Wind, whose name is the deity Prince of Long Wind. Next they gave birth to the deity of Trees, whose name is the deity Stem Elder. Next they gave birth to the deity of Mountains, whose name is the deity Great Mountain Possessor. Next they gave birth to the deity of Moors, whose name is the deity Thatch Moor Princess, another name for whom is the deity Moor Elder. 4 deities in all, from the deity Prince of Long Wind to Moor Elder. The names of the deities given birth by these 2 deities, the deity Great Mountain Possessor and the deity Moor Elder from their separate dominions of mountain and moor, were the deity Heavenly Elder of the Passes, next the deity Earthly Elder of the Passes, next the deity Heavenly Pass Boundary, next the deity Earthly Pass Boundary, next the deity Heavenly Dark Door, next the deity Earthly Dark Door, next the deity Great Veil Prince, next the deity Great Veil Princess. 8 deities in all, from the deity Heavenly Elder of the Passes to the deity Great Veil Princess. The name of the deity they next gave birth to was the deity Bird's Rock Camphor Tree Boat, another name for whom is the Heavenly Bird Boat. Next they gave birth to the deity Princess of Great Food. Next they gave birth to the Fire-Burning Swift Male Deity, another name for whom is the deity Fire Shining Prince. Another name is the deity Fire Shining Elder. Section 7. Retirement of Her Augustness, the Princess Who Invites. Through giving birth to this child, her Augustness's private parts were burnt, and she sickened and lay down. The names of the deities born from her vomit were the deity Metal Mountain Prince, and next the deity Metal Mountain Princess. The names of the deities that were born from her feces were the deity Clay Viscid Prince, and next the deity Clay Viscid Princess. The names of the deities that were next born from her urine were the deity Mitsuhanome, and next, the young Wondrous producing deity. The child of this deity was called the deity Luxuriant Food Princess. So the deity, the female who invites, through giving birth to the deity of fire, at length divinely retired. The total number of islands given birth to jointly by the 2 deities, the male who invites and the female who invites, was 14, and the deities 35. So then, His Augustness, the male who invites, said, "Oh, thine Augustness, my lovely younger sister. Oh, that I should have exchanged thee for this single child." And as he crept round her august feet and wept, there was born from His Augustness's tears the deity that dwells at Konomoto near Unewo on Mount Kagu, and whose name is the crying, weeping female deity. So he buried the divinely retired deity, the female who invites, on Mount Hiba, in the boundary of the land of Izumo and the land of Hahaki. Section 8. The Slaying of the Fire Deity. Then His Augustness, the male who invites, drawing the 10-grasp saber that was augustly girded on him, cut off the head of the child, the deity Shining Elder. Hereupon the names of the deities that were born from the blood that stuck to the point of the august sword and bespattered the multitudinous rock masses were the deity Rock Splitter, next the deity Root Splitter, next the rock-possessing male deity. The names of the deities that were next born from the blood that stuck to the upper part of the august sword and again bespattered the multitudinous rock masses were the awfully swift deity, next the fire-swift deity, next the brave awful possessing male deity, another name for whom is the brave snapping deity, and another name is the luxuriant snapping deity. The names of the deities that were next born from the blood that collected on the hilt of the august sword and leaked out between his fingers were the deity Kuda Okami, and next the deity Kuda Mitsuha. The name of the deity that was born from the head of the deity Shining Elder who had been slain was the deity Possessor of the True Pass Mountains. The name of the deity that was next born from his chest was the deity Possessor of Descent Mountains. The name of the deity that was next born from his belly was the deity Possessor of the Innermost Mountains. The name of the deity that was next born from his private parts was the deity Possessor of the Dark Mountains. The name of the deity that was next born from his left hand was the deity Possessor of the Dense Mountains. The name of the deity that was next born from his right hand was the deity Possessor of the Outlying Mountains. The name of the deity that was next born from his left foot was the deity Possessor of the Moorland Mountains. The name of the deity that was next born from his right foot was the deity Possessor of the Outer Mountains. So, the name of the sword in which the male who invites cut off his son's head was Heavenly Point Blade Extended, and another name was Majestic Point Blade Extended. Section 9. The Land of Hades. Thereupon, His Augustness the male who invites, wishing to meet and see his younger sister, Her Augustness the female who invites, followed after her to the land of Hades. So when from the palace she raised the door and came out to meet him, His Augustness the male who invites spoke, saying, "Thine Augustness, my lovely younger sister, the lands that I and thou made are not yet finished making, so come back." Then Her Augustness the female who invites answered, saying, "Lamentable indeed that thou earnest not sooner. I have eaten of the furnace of Hades. Nevertheless, as I reverence the entry here of thine Augustness, mine lovely elder brother, I wish to return. Moreover, I will discuss it particularly with the deities of Hades. Look not at me." Having thus spoken, she went back inside the palace, and as she tarried there very long, he could not wait. So having taken and broken off one of the end teeth of the multitudinous and close-toothed comb stuck in the August left bunch of his hair, he lit one light and went in and looked. Maggots were swarming, and she was rotting, and in her head dwelt the great thunder, in her breast dwelt the fire thunder, in her left hand dwelt the young thunder, in her right hand dwelt the earth thunder, in her left foot dwelt the rumbling thunder, in her right foot dwelt the couchant thunder. Altogether, 8 thunder deities had been born and dwelt there. Hereupon His Augustness the male who invites, overawed at the sight, fled back, whereupon his younger sister, Her Augustness the female who invites, said, "Thou hast put me to shame," and at once sent the ugly female of Hades to pursue him. So His Augustness the male who invites took his black August headdress and cast it down, and it instantly turned into grapes. While she picked them up and ate them, he fled on. But as she still pursued him, he took and broke the multitudinous and close-toothed comb at the right bunch of his hair and cast it down, and it instantly turned into bamboo sprouts. While she pulled them up and ate them, he fled on. Again later, his younger sister sent the 8 thunder deities with 1,500 warriors of Hades to pursue him. So he, drawing the 10-grasp saber that was augustly girded on him, fled forward, brandishing it in his back hand, and as they still pursued, he took, on reaching the base of the even pass of Hades, 3 peaches that were growing at its base, and waited and smote his pursuers therewith, so that they all fled back. Then His Augustness the male who invites announced to the peaches, "Like as ye have helped me, so must ye help all living people in the central land of reed plains when they shall fall into troublous circumstances and be harassed." And he gave to the peaches the designation of their Augustness' great divine fruit. Last of all, his younger sister, Her Augustness the princess who invites, came out herself in pursuit. So he drew 1,000 draught rock, and with it blocked up the even pass of Hades, and placed the rock in the middle, and they stood opposite to one another and exchanged leave-takings. And Her Augustness the female who invites said, "My lovely elder brother, thine Augustness, if thou do like this, I will in one day strangle to death 1,000 of the folks of thy land." Then His Augustness the male who invites replied, "My lovely younger sister, thine Augustness, if thou do this, I in one day will set up 1,500 parturition houses. In this manner, each day 1,000 people will surely be born. So her Augustness, the female who invites, is called the great deity of Hades. Again, it is said that owing to her having pursued and reached her elder brother, she is called the road-reaching great deity. Again, the rock with which he blocked up the pass of Hades is called the great deity of the road turning back. And again, it is called the blocking great deity of the door of Hades. So what was called the even pass of Hades is now called the Ifya Pass and the land of Izumo. Section 10. The Purification of the August Person. Therefore the great deity, the male who invites, said, "Nay, hideous, I have come to a hideous and polluted land. I have. So I will perform the purification of my august person." So he went out to a plain covered with ahagi at a small river mouth near Tachibana in Himuka in the island of Tsukushi, and purified and cleansed himself. So the name of the deity that was born from the august staff which he threw down was the deity Thrust Erect Come Not Place. The name of the deity that was born from the august girdle which he next threw down was the deity Road Long Space. The name of the deity that was born from the august skirt which he next threw down was the deity Loosen Put. The name of the deity that was born from the august upper garment which he next threw down was the deity Master of Trouble. The name of the deity that was born from the august trousers which he next threw down was the Road Fork deity. The name of the deity that was born from the august hat which he next threw down was the deity Master of the Open Mouth. The names of the deities that were born from the bracelet of his august left hand which he next threw down were the deities Offing Distant. Next the deity Wash Prince of the Offing. Next the deity Intermediate Direction of the Offing. The names of the deities that were born from the bracelet of his august right hand, which he next threw down. The deity Shore Distant. Next the deity Wash Prince of the Shore. Next the deity Intermediate Direction of the Shore. The 12 deities mentioned in the foregoing list from the deity Come Not Place down to the deity Intermediate Direction of the Shore are deities that were born from his taking off the things that were on his person. Thereupon saying, "The water in the upper reach is too rapid, the water in the lower reach is too sluggish." He went down and plunged in the middle reach, and, as he washed, there was born the wondrous deity of 80 evils. And next, the wondrous deity of great evils. These two deities are the deities that were born from the filth he contracted when he went to that polluted, hideous land. The names of the deities that were next born to rectify those evils were the divine rectifying wondrous deity, next the great rectifying wondrous deity, next the female deity Idzu. The names of the deities that were next born as he bathed at the bottom of the river were the deity possessor of the ocean bottom, and next his Augustness elder male of the bottom. The names of the deities that were born as he bathed in the middle of the water were the deity possessor of the ocean middle, and next his Augustness elder male of the middle. The names of the deities that were born as he bathed at the top of the water were the deity possessor of the ocean surface, and next his Augustness elder male of the surface. These three ocean-possessing deities are the deities held in reverence as their ancestral deities by the chiefs of Adzumi. So, the chiefs of Adzumi are the descendants of his Augustness Utsushi hi Ganasaku, a child of these ocean-possessing deities. These three deities, his Augustness elder male of the bottom, his Augustness elder male of the middle, and his Augustness elder male of the surface, are the three great deities of the inlet of Sumi. The name of the deity that was born as he thereupon washed his left august eye was the heaven-shining great august deity. The name of the deity that was next born as he washed his right august eye was his Augustness, Moon Knight Possessor. The name of the deity that was next born as he washed his august nose was his brave, swift, impetuous male Augustness. The 14 deities in the foregoing list, from the wondrous deity of 8 evils down to his swift, impetuous male Augustness, are deities born from the bathing of his august person. Section 11. Investiture of the 3 deities, the illustrious August children. At this time, his Augustness the male who invites greatly rejoiced, saying, I, begetting child after child, have at my final begetting gotten 3 illustrious children. With which words, at once jinglingly taking off and shaking the jewel string forming his august necklace, he bestowed it on the heaven-shining great august deity, saying, Do thine Augustness rule the plane of high heaven. With this charge he bestowed it on her. Now the name of this august necklace was the August Storehouse Shelf Deity. Next he said of his Augustness Moon Knight Possessor, Do thine Augustness rule the dominion of the night. Thus he charged him. Next he said to his brave, swift, impetuous male Augustness, Do thine Augustness rule the sea plane. Section 12. The crying and weeping of his impetuous male Augustness. So while the other 2 deities each assumed his and her rule according to the command with which their father had deigned to charge them, his swift, impetuous male Augustness did not assume the rule of the dominion with which he had been charged, but cried and wept till his 8-grasp beard reached to the pit of his stomach. The fashion of his weeping was such as by his weeping to wither the green mountains into withered mountains, and by his weeping to dry up all the rivers and the seas. For this reason, the sound of bad deities was like unto the flies in the 5th moon as they all swarmed, and in all things every portent of woe arose. So the great august deity, the male who invites, said to his swift, impetuous male Augustness, How is it that, instead of ruling the land with which I charge thee, thou dost wail and weep? He replied, saying, I wail because I wish to depart to my deceased mother's land, to the Nether Distant Land. Then the great august deity, the male who invites, was very angry and said, If that be so, thou shalt not dwell in this land, and forthwith expelled him with a divine expulsion. So the great deity, the male who invites, dwells at Taga in Afumi. Section 13. The August Oath. So thereupon his swift, impetuous male Augustness said, If that be so, I will take leave of the heaven-shining great august deity and depart. With these words he forthwith went up to heaven, whereupon all the mountains and rivers shook, and every land and country quaked. So the heaven-shining great august deity, alarmed at the noise, said, The reason of the ascent hither of his Augustness my elder brother is surely no good intent. It is only that he wishes to wrest my land from me. And she forthwith, unbinding her august hair, twisted it into august bunches, and both into the left and into the right august bunch, as likewise into her august headdress, and likewise onto her left and to her right august arm. She twisted an augustly complete string of curved jewels 8 feet long, of 500 jewels, and slinging on her back a quiver holding 1,000 arrows, and adding thereto a quiver holding 500 arrows. She likewise took and slung at her side a mighty and high-sounding elbow pad, and brandished and stuck her bow upright so that the top shook. And she stamped her feet into the hard ground up to her opposing thighs, kicking away the earth like rotten snow, and stood valiantly like unto a mighty man, and waiting asked, Wherefore ascendest thou hither? Then his swift, impetuous male Augustness replied, saying, I have no evil intent. It is only that when the great august deity, our father, spoke, deigning to inquire the cause of my wailing and weeping, I said, I wail because I wish to go away to my deceased mother's land. Whereupon the great august deity said, Thou shalt not dwell in this land, and deigned to expel me with the divine expulsion. It is therefore solely with the thought of taking leave of thee and departing that I have ascended hither. I have no strange intentions." Then the heaven-shining great August Deity said, "If that be so, whereby shall I know the sincerity of thine intentions?" Thereupon his swift impetuous male Augustness replied, saying, "Let each of us swear, and produce children." So as they then swore to each other from the opposite banks of the tranquil river of heaven, the august names of the deities that were born from the mist of her breath when, having first begged his swift impetuous male Augustness to hand her the 10-grasped saber which was girded on him and broken it into 3 fragments, and with the jewels making a jingling sound, having brandished and washed them in the true pool well of heaven, and having crushed them down, the heaven-shining great deity blew them away. Her Augustness Torrent Mist Princess, another august name for whom is her Augustness Princess of the Island of the Offing. Next, her Augustness Lovely Island Princess, another august name for whom is her Augustness Good Princess. Her next Augustness, Princess of the Torrent, the august name of the deity that was born from the mist of his breath, when, having begged the heaven-shining great august deity to hand him the augustly complete string of curved jewels 8 feet long, of 500 jewels, that was twisted into the left august bunch of her hair, and with the jewels making a jingling sound, having brandished and washed them in the true pool well of heaven, and having crushed them down, his swift impetuous male Augustness blew them away. Was his Augustness, truly conquer, I Conqueror, conquering swift, heavenly great ears. The august name of the deity that was born from the mist of his breath when again, having begged her to hand him the 49 jewels that were twisted in the right august bunch of her hair, and having crushed them down, he blew them away, was his Augustness Amenohohi. The august name of the deity that was born from the mist of his breath when again, having begged her to hand him the jewels that were twisted in her august headdress, and having crushed them down, he blew them away, was his Augustness Prince Lord of Heaven. The august name of the deity that was born from the mist of his breath when again, having begged her to hand him the jewels that were twisted on her left august arm, and having crushed them down, he blew them away, was his Augustness Prince Lord of Life. The august name of the deity that was born from the mist of his breath when again, having begged her to hand him the jewels that were twisted on her right august arm, and having crushed them down, he blew them away, was his wondrous Augustness of Kumanu. 5 deities in all. Section 14. The August Declaration of the Division of the August Male Children and the August Female Children. Hereupon, the heavenly shining great august deity said to his swift impetuous male Augustness, "As for the seed of the 5 male deities born last, their birth was from things of mine, so undoubtedly they are my children. As for the seed of the 3 female deities born first, their birth was from a thing of thine, so doubtless they are thy children." Thus did she declare the division. So her Augustness Torrent Mist Princess, the deity born first, dwells in the inner temple of Munakata. The next, her Augustness Lovely Island Princess, dwells in the middle temple of Munakata. The next, her Augustness Princess of the Torrent, dwells in the outer temple of Munakata. These 3 deities are the 3 great deities held in reverence by the Dukes of Munakata. So his Augustness, brave rustic illuminator, child of his Augustness Amenohohi, one of the 5 children born afterwards. The next, his Augustness Prince Lord of Heaven. Section 15. The August Ravages of His Impetuous Male Augustness. Then his swift impetuous male Augustness said to the heaven-shining great august deity, "Owing to the sincerity of my intentions, I have, in begetting children, gotten delicate females. Judging from this, I have undoubtedly gained the victory." With these words, and impetuous with victory, he broke down the divisions of the rice fields, laid out by the heaven-shining great August Deity, filled up the ditches, and moreover strewed excrements in the palace where she partook of the great food. So, though he did thus, the heaven-shining great August Deity upbraided him not, but said, "What looks like excrements must be something that His Augustness mine elder brother has vomited through drunkenness." Again, as to the breaking down the divisions of the rice fields and filling up the ditches, it must be because he grudges the land they occupy, that His Augustness mine elder brother acts thus. But notwithstanding these apologetic words, he still continued his evil acts, and was more and more violent. As the heaven-shining great August Deity sat in her sacred weaving hall, seeing to the weaving of the august garments of the deities, he broke a hole in the top of the weaving hall, and through it let fall a heavenly piebald horse which he had flayed with a backward flaying, at whose sight the women weaving the heavenly garments were so much alarmed that they had mistakenly stabbed their genitals and died. Section 16. The Door of the Heavenly Rock Dwelling. So thereupon the heaven-shining great August Deity, terrified at the sight, closed behind her the door of the heavenly rock dwelling, made it fast, and retired. Then the whole plain of high heaven was obscured, and all the central land of reed plains darkened. Owing to this, eternal night prevailed. Hereupon the voices of the myriad deities were like unto flies in the fifth moon as they swarmed, and a myriad portents of woe all arose. Therefore did the 800 myriad deities assemble in a divine assembly in the bed of the tranquil river of heaven, and bid the deity, thought includer, child of the high August-producing wondrous deity, think of a plan, assembling the long singing bards of the eternal night, and making them sing, taking the hard rocks of heaven from the riverbed of the tranquil river of heaven, and taking the iron from the heavenly metal mountains, calling in the smith Amatsu Mara, charging her Augustness Ishiko Ridome to make a mirror, and charging his Augustness jewel ancestor to make an augustly complete string of curved jewels 8 feet long, of 500 jewels, and summoning his Augustness heavenly beckoning ancestor Lord, and his Augustness great jewel, and causing them to pull out with a complete pulling the shoulder blade of a true stag from the heavenly Mount Kagu, and take a cherry bark from the heavenly mountain Kagu, and perform divination, and pulling up by pulling its root a true sakaki with 500 branches from the heavenly Mount Kagu, and taking and putting upon its upper branches the augustly complete string of curved jewels 8 feet long, of 500 jewels, and taking and tying to the middle branches the mirror 8 feet long, and taking and hanging upon its lower branches the white pacificatory offerings, and the blue pacificatory offerings, his Augustness grand jewel taking these diverse things and holding them together with the grand August offerings, and his Augustness heavenly beckoning ancestor Lord prayerfully reciting grand liturgies, and heavenly hand strength male deity standing hidden beside the door, and her Augustness heavenly alarming female hanging round her the heavenly club moss of the heavenly Mount Kagu as a sash, and making the heavenly spindle tree her headdress, and binding the leaves of the bamboo grass of the heavenly Mount Kagu in a posy for her hands, and laying a sounding board before the door of the heavenly rock dwelling, and stamping till she made it resound, and doing as if possessed by a deity, and pulling out the nipples of her breasts, pushing down her skirt string, revealing her privates. Then the plain of high heaven shook, and the 800 myriad deities laughed together. Hereupon the heaven-shining great August Deity was amazed, and slightly opening the door of the heavenly rock dwelling, spoke thus from the inside. I thought that owing to my retirement the plain of heaven would be dark, and likewise the central land of reed plains would all be dark. How then is it that the heavenly alarming female makes merry, and that likewise the 800 myriad deities all laugh? Then the heavenly alarming female spoke, saying, We rejoice and are glad because there is a deity more illustrious than thine Augustness. While she was thus speaking, his Augustness heavenly beckoning ancestor Lord and his Augustness grand jewel pushed forward the mirror and respectfully showed it to the heaven-shining great August Deity. whereupon the heaven-shining great August deity, more and more astonished, gradually came forth from the door and gazed upon it. Whereupon the heavenly hand-strength male deity, who was standing hidden, took her august hand and drew her out. And then his Augustness grand jewel drew the bottom-tied rope along her august back and spoke, saying, "Thou must not go back further in than this." So when the heaven-shining great August deity had come forth, both the plane of high heaven and the central land of reed plains of course again became light. Section 17. The August Expulsion of His Impetuous Male Augustness. Thereupon the 800 myriad deities took counsel together, and imposed on high swift impetuous male Augustness a fine of 1,000 tables, and likewise cut his beard, and even caused the nails of his fingers and toes to be pulled out, and expelled him with a divine expulsion. Again he begged food of the deity Princess of Great Food. Then the Princess of Great Food took out all sorts of dainty things from her nose, her mouth, and her fundament, and made them up into all sorts of dishes, which she offered to him. But his swift impetuous male Augustness watched her proceedings, considered that she was offering up to him filth, and at once killed the deity Princess of Great Food. So the things that were born in the body of the deity who had been killed were as follows. In her head were born silkworms. In her 2 eyes were born rice seeds. In her 2 ears was born millet. In her nose were born small beans. In her genitals was born barley. In her fundament were born large beans. So his Augustness, the deity producing wondrous ancestor, caused them to be taken and used as seeds. Section 18. The Eight Forked Serpent. So having been expelled, his swift impetuous male Augustness descended to a place called Torikami, at the headwaters of the river Hii in the land of Izumo. At this time some chopsticks came floating down the stream. So his swift impetuous male Augustness, thinking that there must be people at the headwaters of the river, went up it in quest of them, when he came upon an old man and an old woman, 2 of them, who had a young girl between them, and were weeping. Then he deigned to ask, "Who are ye?" So the old man replied, saying, "I am an earthly deity, child of the deity Great Mountain Possessor. I am called by the name of Foot-Stroking Elder. My wife is called by the name of Hand-Stroking Elder, and my daughter is called by the name of Wondrous Inaba Princess." Again he asked, "What is the cause of your crying?" The old man answered, saying, "I had originally 8 young girls as daughters, but the 8-forked serpent of Koshi had come every year and devoured one, and it is now its time to come, wherefore we weep." Then he asked him, "What is its form like?" The old man answered, saying, "Its eyes are like a kakagachi. It has 1 body with 8 heads and 8 tails. Moreover, on its body grows moss, and also hinogi and sugi. Its length extends over 8 valleys and 8 hills, and if one looks at its belly, it is all constantly bloody and inflamed." Then his swift impetuous male Augustness said to the old man, "If this be thy daughter, wilt thou offer her to me?" He replied, saying, "With reverence, but I know not thine august name." Then he replied, saying, "I am elder brother to the heaven-shining great August deity, so I have now descended from heaven." Then the deity's foot-stroker elder and hand-stroking elder said, "If that be so, with reverence we will offer her to thee." So his swift impetuous male Augustness, at once taking and changing the young girl into a multitudinous and close-toothed comb which he stuck into his august hair bunch, said to the deity's foot-stroking elder and hand-stroking elder, "Do distill some 8-fold refined liquor. Also, make a fence round about. In that fence make 8 gates. At each gate tie together 8 platforms. On each platform put a liquor vat, and to each vat pour the 8-fold refined liquor, and wait." So as they waited, after having thus prepared everything in accordance with his bidding, the Eight Forked Serpent came truly as the old man had said, and immediately dipped a head into each vat and drank the liquor. Thereupon it was intoxicated with drinking, and all the heads lay down and slept. Then his swift impetuous male Augustness drew the 10-grasp saber that was augustly girded on him, and cut the serpent in pieces, so that the river he flowed changed into a river of blood. So when he cut the middle tail, the edge of his august sword broke. Then, thinking it strange, he thrust into and split the flesh with the point of his august sword and looked, and there was a great sword within. So he took this great sword, and, thinking it was a strange thing, he respectfully informed the heaven-shining great august deity. This is the Kusanagi no Tachi, the grass-cutting greatsword. Section 19. The Palace of Suga. So thereupon his swift impetuous male Augustness sought in the land of Izumo for a place where he might build a palace. Then he arrived at a place called Suga, and said, "On coming to this place my august heart is pure." And in that place he built a palace to dwell in. So that place is now called Suga. When this great deity first built the Palace of Suga, clouds rose up thence. Then he made an august song. That song said, "8 clouds arise. The eightfold wall of Izumo makes an eightfold fence for the spouses to retire within. Oh, that eightfold fence." Then he called the deity foot-stroking elder and said, "Thee do I appoint headman of my palace," and moreover bestowed on him the name of the master of the temple of Inaba, eight-eared deity of Suga. Section 20. The august ancestors of the deity master of the great land. Wherefore, when he began in the chamber the work of procreation with the divine princess of great majesty, he produced a god named Eight Island Ruler. And again, having wedded the divine princess of great majesty, daughter of the deity Great Mountain Possessor, he begot children, the Great Harvest Deity, and the August Spirit of Food. The elder brother, the deity Eight Island Ruler, wedded Princess Falling like the flowers of the trees, daughter of the deity Great Mountain Possessor, and begot a child, the deity Fuhanamoji Kunusunu. The deity wedded Princess Hikaha, daughter of the deity Okami, and begot a child, water-spoilt Blossom of Fukabuchi. This deity wedded the deity Ame no Sudohe Chine, and begot a child, the deity Great Water Master. This deity wedded the grand ears daughter of the deity Funuzunu, and begot a child, the deity Heavenly Brandishing Prince Lord. This deity wedded the young princess of the small country, daughter of the great deity of the small country, and begat a child, the deity master of the great land. Another name for whom is the deity Great Name Possessor. And another name is the deity of the reed plains. And another name is the deity of 8,000 spears. And another name is the deity Spirit of the living land. In all, there were 5 names. Section 21. The White Hare of Inaba. So this deity, master of the great land, had 8 deities his brethren, but they all left the land to the deity, master of the great land. The reason for their leaving it was this. Each of these 8 deities had in his heart the wish to marry the princess of Yakami in Inaba, and they went together to Inaba, putting their bag on the back of the deity Great Name Possessor, whom they took with them as an attendant. Hereupon, when they arrived at Cape Keta, they found a naked hare lying down. Then the 8 deities spoke to the hare, saying, "What thou shouldest do is to bathe in the seawater here, and lie on the slope of a high mountain exposed to the blowing of the wind." So the hare followed the instructions of the 8 deities and lay down. Then, as the seawater dried, the skin of its body all split with the blowing of the wind, so that it lay weeping with pain. But the deity Great Name Possessor, who came last of all, saw the hare and said, "Why liest thou weeping?" The hare replied, saying, "I was in the island of Oki, and wished to cross over to this land, but had no means of crossing over. For this reason, I deceived the crocodiles of the sea, saying, 'Let you and me compete, and compute the numbers of our respective tribes. So do you go and fetch every member of your tribe, and make them all lie in a row across from this island to Cape Kita. Then I will tread on them, and count them as I run across. Hereby shall we know whether it or my tribe is the larger.' Upon my speaking thus, they were deceived, and lay down in a row, and I trod on them and counted them as I came across, and was just about to get on land when I said, 'You have been deceived by me.' And as soon as I had finished speaking, the crocodile who lay the last of all seized me, and commanded and exhorted me, saying, 'Bathe in the salt water, and lie down exposed to the wind.' So on my doing as they had instructed me, my whole body was hurt. Thereupon the Great Name Possessor instructed the hare, saying, 'Go quickly now to the river mouth, wash thy body with the fresh water, then take the pollen of the sedges growing at the river mouth, spread it about, and roll about upon it, whereupon thy body will certainly be restored to its original state.' And its body became as it had been originally. This was the white hare of Inaba. It is now called the Hare Deity. So the hare said to the deity Great Name Possessor, 'These 8 deities shall certainly not get the princess of Yakami. Though thou bearest the bag, thine Augustness shall obtain her.'" Section 22. Mount Tama. Thereupon the princess of Yakami answered the 8 deities, saying, "I will not listen to your words. I mean to marry the deity Great Name Possessor." So the 8 deities, being enraged and wishing to slay the deity Great Name Possessor, took counsel together on arriving at the foot of Tama in the land of Hahaki, and said to him, "On this mountain there is a red boar, so when we drive it down, do thou wait and catch it. If thou do not wait and catch it, we will certainly slay thee." Having thus spoken, they took fire and burnt a large stone like unto a boar, and rolled it down. Then, as they drove it down and he caught it, he got stuck to it and burnt by the stone, and died. Thereupon her Augustness, his august parent, cried and lamented, and went up to heaven, and entreated his divine-producing Wondrous Augustness, who at once sent Princess Cockleshell and Prince Clam to bring him to life. Then Princess Cockleshell triturated and scorched her shell, and Princess Clam carried water and smeared him as with mother's milk, whereupon he became a beautiful young man and wandered off. Hereupon the 8 deities, seeing this, again deceived him, taking him with them into the mountains, where they cut down a large tree, inserted a wedge in the tree, and made him stand in the middle, whereupon they took away the wedge and tortured him to death. Then, on her Augustness, his august parent, again seeking him with cries, she perceived him, and at once cleaving the tree, took him out and brought him to life, and said to him, "If thou remain here, thou wilt at last be the land of Ki." Then, when the 8 deities searched and pursued till they came up to him, and fixed their arrows in their bows, he escaped by clipping under the fork of a tree and disappeared. Section 23. The Nether Distant Land. The deity Great House Prince spoke to him, saying, "Thou must set off to the Nether Distant Land where dwells His Impetuous Male Augustness. That great deity will certainly counsel thee." So on obeying his command and arriving at the august place of His Impetuous Male Augustness, The latter's daughter, the forward princess, came out and saw him, and they exchanged glances and were married. And she went in again and told her father, saying, "A very beautiful deity has come." Then the great deity went out and looked and said, "This is the ugly male deity of the reed plain," and at once called him in and made him sleep in the snake house. Hereupon his wife, her Augustness the forward princess, gave her husband a snake scarf, saying, "When the snakes are about to bite thee, drive them away by waving this scarf thrice." So, on his doing as she had instructed, the snakes became quiet, so that he came forth after calm slumbers. Again on the night of the next day, the impetuous male deity put him into the centipede and wasp house. The impetuous male deity shot a whizzing barb into the middle of a large moor, and sent him to fetch the arrow, and, when he had entered the moor, at once set fire to the moor all around. Thereupon, while he stood knowing no place of exit, a mouse came and said, "The inside is hollow, hollow. The outside is narrow, narrow." Owing to its speaking thus, he trod on the place, whereupon he fell and hid himself, during which the fire burned past. Then the mouse brought out in its mouth and presented to him the whizzing barb. The feathers of the arrow were brought in their mouths by all the mouse's children. Hereupon his wife, the forward princess, came bearing mourning implements and crying. Her father, the great deity, thinking that the deity great name possessor was already dead and done for, went out and stood on the moor. Whereupon the deity great name possessor brought the arrow and presented it to him. Upon which the great deity, taking him into the house and calling him into an 8-foot spaced large room, made him take the lice off his head. So, on looking at the head, he saw that there were many centipedes there. Thereupon, as his wife gave to her husband berries of the muku tree and red earth, he chewed the berries to pieces and spat them out with the red earth which he held in his mouth, so that the great deity believed him to be chewing up and spitting out the centipedes, and, feeling fond of him in his heart, fell asleep. Then the deity great name possessor, grasping the great deity's hair, tied it fast to the various rafters of the house, and, blocking up the floor of the house with a 500-draught rock, and taking his wife the forward princess on his back, then carried off the great deity's great life sword and life bow and arrows, and also his heavenly speaking lute, and ran out. But the heavenly speaking lute brushed against the tree, and the earth resounded. So the great deity, who was sleeping, started at the sound, and pulled down the house. But while he was disentangling his hair, which was tied to the rafters, the deity great name possessor fled a long way. So then, pursuing after him to the even pass of Hades, and gazing on him from afar, he called out to the deity great name possessor, saying, "With the great life sword and the life bow and arrows which thou earnest, pursue thy half-brethren till they crouch on the august slopes of the passes, and pursue them till they are swept into the reaches of the rivers. And do thou, wretch, become the deity master of the great land, and moreover, becoming the deity spirit of the living land, and making my daughter the forward princess thy consort. Do thou make stout the temple pillars at the foot of the mountain Uka, in the nethermost rock bottom, and make high the crossbeams to the plain of high heaven, and dwell there, thou villain." So when, bearing the great sword and bow, he pursued and scattered the 8 deities, he did pursue them till they crouched on the august slope of every pass. He did pursue them till they were swept into every river, and then he began to make the land. Therefore Princess Yamaki, according to the previous agreement, joined with him in the chamber. So he brought her with him, but, fearing his consort the forward princess, she stuck into the fork of a tree the child that she had borne, and went back. So the child was called by the name of the tree fork deity, and another name was the deity of August Wells. Section 24. The Wooing of the Deity of 8,000 Spears. The Deity of 8,000 Spears, when he went forth to woo the Princess of Nunakaha in the land of Koshi, on arriving at the house of the Princess of Nunakaha, saying, His Augustness, the Deity of 8,000 Spears, having been unable to find a spouse in the land of the 8 islands, and having heard that in the far-off land of Koshi there is a wise maiden, having heard that there is a beauteous maiden, I am standing here to truly woo her. I am going backwards and forwards to woo her. Without having yet untied even the cord of my sword, without having yet untied even my veil, I push back the plank door shut by the maiden. While I am standing here, I pull it forward. While I am standing here, the Nuye sing upon the green mountain, and the voice of the true bird of the moor, the pheasant, resounds. The bird of the yard, the rooster, crows. Oh, the pity that the birds should sing. Oh, these birds. Who that I could beat them till they were sick. Oh, swiftly flying heaven-racing messenger. The tradition of the thing, too, is this. Then the Princess of Nunakaha, without yet opening the door, sang from the inside, saying, Thine Augustness, the Deity of 8,000 Spears. Being a maiden like a drooping plant, my heart is just a bird on a sandbank by the shore. It will now indeed be a dotterel. Afterwards it will be a gentle bird. So as for thy life, do not deign to die. O swiftly flying heaven-racing messenger, the tradition of the thing, too, is this. When the sun shall hide behind the green mountains, and the night black as the true jewels of the moor, will I come forth. Coming radiant with smiles like the morning sun, thine arms white as rope of paper mulberry bark shall softly pat my breast soft as the melting snow, and patting each other interlaced, stretching out and pillowing ourselves on each other's jewel arms, true jewel arms, and with each outstretched legs will we sleep. So speak not too lovingly, thine Augustness the Deity of 8,000 Spears. The tradition of the thing, too, this. Therefore they did not meet that night, but on the August night of the following day they met. Section 25. The Cup Pledge. Again, the deity's chief empress, her Augustness the Forward Princess, was very jealous. So the deity, her husband, being distressed, was about to go up from Izumo to the land of Yamato, and as he stood attired, with one august hand on the saddle of his august horse, and one august foot in the august stirrup, he sang, saying, When I take and attire myself so carefully in my august garments black as the true jewels of the moor, and like the birds of the offing, look at my breast. Though I raise my fins, I say that these are not good, and cast them off on the waves on the beach. When I take and attire myself so carefully in my august garments green as the kingfisher, and, like the oil birds, look at my breast. Though I raise my fins, I say that these, too, are not good, and cast them off on the waves on the beach. When I take and attire myself so carefully in my raiment dyed in the sap of the dye tree, the pounded madder sought in the mountain fields, and, like the birds of the offing, look at my breast. Though I raise my fins, I say that they are good. My dear young sister, thine Augustness, though thou say that thou wilt not weep, if like the flocking birds I flock and depart, if, like the led birds, I am led away and depart, thou wilt hang down thy head like a single eulalia upon the mountains, and thy weeping shall indeed rise as the mist of the morning shower. Thine Augustness, my spouse, like the young herbs. The tradition of the thing, too, is this. Then his empress, taking a great august liquor cup, and drawing near and offering it to him, saying, O thine Augustness, the deity of 8,000 spears, Thou, my dear master of the great land, indeed, being a man, probably hast on the various island headlands that thou seest, and on every beach headland that thou lookest on, a wife like the young herbs. But as for me, alas, being a woman, I have no man except thee. I have no spouse except thee. Beneath the fluttering of the ornamented fence, beneath the softness of the warm coverlet, beneath the rustling of the cloth coverlet, thine arms white as rope of paper mulberry bark softly patting my breast, soft as the melting snow, and patting each other interlaced, stretching out and pillowing ourselves on each other's arms, true jewel arms, and with outstretched legs would we sleep. Lift up the luxuriant August liquor. She having thus sang, they at once pledged each other by the cup with their hands on each other's necks, and are at rest till the present time. These are called divine words. Section 26. The deities, the august descendants of the deity master of the great land. So this deity, master of the great land, wedded her Augustness Torrent Mist Princess, the deity dwelling in the inner temple of Munakata, and begot children, the deity Ajishiki Takahikone, and next his younger sister, her Augustness High Princess, another name for whom is her Augustness Princess Undershining. This deity, Ajishiki Takahikone, is he who is now called the Great August Deity of Kamo. Again, the deity master of the great land wedded her Augustness Princess Divine House Shield and begot a child, the deity Thing Sign Master. Again, he wedded the deity Bird Ears, daughter of the deity Eight Island Possessor, and begot a child, the deity Bird Growing Ears. This deity wedded Hinateri Nakata Bitsuo Ikochini, and begot a child, the deity Land Great Wealth. This deity wedded the deity Ashinadaka, another name for whom is the Princess Eight Rivers and Inlets, and begot a child, the deity Swift Awful Brave Sahaya Land Ruler. This deity wedded Princess Luck Spirit, daughter of the deity Heavenly Awful Master, and begot a child, the deity Awful Master Prince. This deity wedded Princess Hinarashi, daughter of the deity Okami, and begot a child, the deity Tahiti Kishi Marumi. This deity wedded the deity Princess Life Spirit Luck Spirit, daughter of the deity Waiting to See the Flowers of the Holly, and begot a child, the deity Miranami. This deity wedded Princess Awanuma Oshi, daughter of the master of Shikiyama, and begot a child, the deity Nunoshi Tomitori Narumi. This deity wedded the young day female deity, and begot a child, the deity Heavenly Hibata Great Long Wind Wealth. This deity wedded the deity Tohotsuma Chine, daughter of the deity Heavenly Pass Boundary, and begot a child, the deity Tohotsu Yamazaki Tarashi. From the above-mentioned deity Eight Island Ruler, down to the deity Tohotsu Yamazaki Tarashi, are called the deities of 17 generations. Section 27. The Little Prince, the Renowned Deity. So when the deity, master of the great land, dwelt at the august cape of Miho in Izumo, there came riding on the crest of the waves in a boat of heavenly Kagami, a deity dressed in skins of geese flayed with a complete flaying, who, when asked his name, replied not. Moreover, the deities who accompanied him, though asked, all said that they knew not. Then the toad spoke, saying, "As for this, the crumbling prince will surely know it." Thereupon, the deity master of the great land summoned and asked the crumbling prince, who replied, saying, "This is the little prince, the renowned deity, the august child of the deity producing Wondrous deity." So on there then respectfully informing his Augustness the deity producing Wondrous Augustness ancestor, he replied, saying, "This is truly my child." He among my children is the child who dipped between the fork of my hand. So do he and thou become brethren, and make and consolidate this land. So from that time forward, the two deities, the great name possessor, and the little prince, the renowned deity, made and consolidated this land conjointly. But afterwards, the little prince, the renowned deity, crossed over to the eternal land. So the deity here called the crumbling prince, who revealed the little prince, the renowned deity, is what is now called the scarecrow in the mountain fields. This deity, though his legs do not walk, is a deity who knows everything in the empire. Section 28. The August Luck Spirit, the August Wondrous Spirit. Thereupon the deity master of the great land lamented himself and said, "How shall I alone be able to make this land? Together with what deity can I make this land?" At this time there came a deity illuminating the sea. This deity said, "If thou wilt lay me to rest well, I can make it together with thee. If not, the land cannot be made." Then the deity master of the great land said, "If that be so, what is the manner of reverently laying thee to rest?" He replied, saying, "Reverently worship me on Yamato's green fence, the eastern mountain's top." This is the deity who dwells on the top of Mount Mimoro. Section 29. The August Children of the Great Harvest Deity and of the Swift Mountain Deity. So the Great Harvest Deity wedded the Princess of Inu, daughter of the divine life-producing Wondrous Deity, and begot children, the deity August Spirit of the Great Land, next the deity of Kara, next the deity Sohori, next the deity White Sun, next the Sage Deity. Again he wedded the refulgent princess, and begot children, the deity Great Refulgent Mountain-dwelling Grandee, next the August Harvest Deity. Again he wedded Princess Ameshiru Karumizu, and begot children, the deity Okitsuhiko, next her Augustness Okitsuhime, another name for whom is the deity Great Furnace Princess. This is the deity of the furnace, held in reverence by all people. Next the deity Great Mountain Integrator, another name for whom is the deity Great Master of the Mountain End. This deity dwells on Mount Hiei in the land of Chikatsu Afumi. It is likewise the deity dwelling at Matsuno-wo in Kazunu, who uses the whizzing barb. Next the deity of the fire in the yard. Next the deity Asahi. Next the deity Hahiki. Next the deity Refulgent Mountain-dwelling Grandee. Next the deity Swift Mountain-dwelling. Next the high deity of the fire in the yard. Next the Great Earth Deity, another name for whom is the deity August Ancestor of the Earth. In the above paragraph, the children of the Great Harvest Deity, from the deity August Spirit of the Great Land down to the Great Earth Deity, are altogether 16 deities. The deity Swift Mountain-dwelling wedded the deity Princess of Great Food and begat children, the deity Young Mountain Integrator, next the Young Harvest Deity, next his younger sister, the Young Rice Transplanting Female Deity, next the Water Sprinkling Deity, next the deity of the High Sun of Summer, another name for whom is the female deity of summer, next the Autumn Princess, next the deity Stem Harvest, next the deity Lord Stem Tree Young House Rope. In the above paragraph, the children of the deity Swift Mountain Dwelling, from the deity Young Mountain Integrator down to the deity Lord Young House Rope, are altogether 8 deities. Section 30. The August Deliberation for Pacifying the Land. The heaven-shining Great August Deity commanded, saying, The luxuriant reed plains, the land of fresh rice ears of 1,000 autumns, of long 500 autumns, is the land which my august child, His Augustness, truly Conqueror, I conquer conquering swift heavenly great ears, shall govern. Having thus deigned to charge him, he sent him down from heaven. Hereupon His Augustness heavenly great ears, another name for His Augustness truly Conqueror, I conquer conquering swift heavenly great ears, standing on the floating bridge of heaven, said, "The luxuriant reed plains, the land of fresh rice ears of 1,000 autumns, of long 500 autumns, is painfully uproarious. It is." With this announcement, he immediately reascended and informed the heaven-shining great August Deity. Then the high August-producing Wondrous Deity and the heaven-shining great August Deity commanded the 800 myriad deities to assemble in a divine assembly in the bed of tranquil river of heaven, and caused the deity Thought Includer to think of a plan, and said, "This central land of reed plains is the land with which we have deigned to charge our august child as the land which he shall govern. So as he deems that violent and savage earthly deities are numerous in this land, which deity shall we send to subdue them?" Then the deity Thought Includer, and likewise the 800 myriad deities, took counsel and said, "The deity Ame no Hohi is the one that should be sent." So they sent the deity Ame no Hohi, but he at once curried favor with the deity Master of the Great Land, and for 3 years brought back no report. Section 31. The Heavenly Young Prince. Therefore, the high August-producing Wondrous Deity and the heaven-shining great August Deity again asked all the deities, saying, "The deity Ame no Hohi, whom we sent down to the central land of reed plains, is long of bringing back a report. Which deity were it best to send on a fresh mission?" Then the deity Thought Includer replied, saying, "The heavenly young prince, son of the deity Heaven's Earth Spirit, should be sent." So they bestowed on him the heavenly feathered arrows and sent him. Thereupon the heavenly young prince, descending to the land, at once wedded Princess Undershining, daughter of the deity Master of the Great Land, and moreover, planning how he might gain possession of the land, for 8 years brought back no report. So then the high August-producing Wondrous Deity and the heaven-shining great August Deity again asked all the deities, saying, "The heavenly young prince is long of bringing back a report. Which deity shall we send on a fresh mission to inquire the cause of heavenly young prince's long tarrying?" Thereupon all the deities and likewise the deity Thought Includer replied, saying, "The pheasant, the name-crying female, should be sent." Upon which, the high August-producing Wondrous Deity and the heaven-shining great August Deity charged the pheasant, saying, "What thou shalt go and ask the heavenly young prince is this. The reason for which thou wast sent to the central land of reed plains was to subdue and pacify the savage deities of the land. Why for 8 years bringest thou back no report?" So then the crying female, descending from heaven and perching on the multitudinously branching cassia tree at the heavenly young prince's gate, told him everything according to the mandate of the heavenly deities. Then the heavenly spying woman, having heard the bird's words, spoke to the heavenly young prince, saying, "The sound of this bird's cry is very bad, so thou shouldest shoot it to earth." On her thus urging him, the heavenly young prince at once took the heavenly vegetable wax tree bow and the heavenly deer arrows bestowed on him by the heavenly deities, and shot the pheasant to death. Then the arrow, being shot upside down, through the pheasant's breast, reached the august place where the heaven-shining great August Deity and the high integrating deity were sitting in the bed of the tranquil river of heaven. This high integrating deity is another name for the high August-producing Wondrous Deity. So, on the high integrating deity taking up the arrow and looking at it, he saw that there was blood adhering to the feathers of the arrow. Thereupon the high integrating deity, saying, This arrow is the arrow that was bestowed on the heavenly prince in obedience to our command. Let it not hit him. If he has a foul heart, let the heavenly young prince perish by this arrow." With these words he took the arrow and thrust it back down through the arrow's hole, so that it hit the heavenly young prince on the top of his breast as he was sleeping on his couch, so that he died. This is the origin of the saying, "Beware of a returning arrow." Moreover, the pheasant returned not. So this is the origin of the modern proverb which speaks of the pheasant as sole messenger. So the sound of the wailings of the heavenly young prince's wife, Princess Undershining, re-echoing in the wind, reached heaven. So the heavenly young prince's father, the deity Heaven Earth Spirit, and his wife and children who were in heaven hearing it, came down with cries and lamentations, and at once built a mourning house there, and made the wild goose of the river the head-hanging bearer, the heron the broom bearer, the kingfisher the person of the august food, the sparrow the pounding woman, the pheasant the weeping woman. And having thus arranged matters, they disported themselves for 8 days and 8 nights. At this time the deity Ajishiki Takehikone came and condoled on the mourning for the heavenly young prince, whereupon the heavenly young prince's father and wife who had come down from heaven bewailed themselves, saying, "My child is not dead, no. My lord is not dead, no." And with these words clung to his hands and feet, and bewailed themselves and lamented. The cause of their mistake was that the two deities closely resembled each other in countenance, so therefore they made the mistake. Thereupon the deity Ajishiki Takehikone was very angry and said, "It is only because he was my dear friend that I came to condole. Why should I be likened unto an unclean dead person?" And with these words he drew the 10-grasp saber that was augustly girded on him, and cut down the mourning house, and kicked away the pieces with his feet. This was on what is called Mount Mourning, at the source of the river Awimi in the land of Minu. The great sword with which he cut the mourning house to pieces was called by the name of the Great Blade Mower, another name by which it was called being the Divine Keen Saber. So when the deity Ajishiki Takehikone flew away in his anger, his younger sister heard Augustness the High Princess in order to reveal his august name, saying, "Oh, 'tis the deity Ajishiki Takehikone traversing 2 august valleys with the refulgence of august assembled whole jewels, of the august assembled jewels worn round her neck by the weaving maiden in heaven." This song is of rustic style. Section 32. Abdication of the deity Master of the Great Land. Hereupon the heaven-shining great august deity said, "Which deity were it best to send on a fresh mission?" Then the deity Thought Includer, and likewise all the deities, said, "He who is named the deity Majestic Point Blade Extended, and dwells in the heavenly rock dwelling by the source of the tranquil river of heaven, is the one that should be sent. Or if not this deity, then this deity's child, the brave, awful possessing male deity, might be sent. Moreover, owing to this deity heavenly point blade extended having blocked up and turned back the waters of the tranquil river of heaven, and to his dwelling with the road blocked up, other deities cannot go thither. So the heavenly deer deity should be sent specially to ask him. So then the heavenly deer deity was sent to ask the deity Heaven Point Blade Extended, who replied saying, "I will obey, and will respectfully serve you. Nevertheless, on this errand ye shall send my child, the brave, awful possessing male deity." And with these words immediately offered his son to the heaven-shining great august deity. So the deity Heavenly Bird Boat was attached to the brave, awful possessing male deity, and they were sent off. Therefore, these two deities, descending to the little shore of Inasa in the land of Idzumo, drew their swords 10 handbreadths long, stuck them upside down on the crest of a wave, seated themselves cross-legged on the points of the sword, and asked the deity Master of the Great Land, saying, "The heaven-shining great august deity and the high integrating deity have charged us and sent us to ask, saying, We have deigned to charge our august child with thy dominion, the central land of reed plains, as the land which he should govern. So how is thy heart? He replied, saying, I am unable to say. My child, the deity Eightfold Thing Sign Master, will be the one to tell you. But he has gone to Cape Miho to pursue birds and catch fish, and is not yet returned. So then the deity Birdboat was sent to summon the deity Eightfold Thing Sign Master, who, on being graciously asked, spoke to the great deity his father, saying, I will obey. Do thou respectfully present this land to the august child of the heavenly deity. And thereupon he trode on the edge of his boat, as to capsize it, clapped his heavenly departing hands in the fence of green branches, and disappeared. So then they asked the deity master of the great land, saying, Thy son, the deity Thing Sign Master, has now spoken thus. Hast thou other sons who should speak? Hereupon he spoke again, saying, This is my other son, the deity Brave August Name Firm. There is none beside him. While he was thus speaking, the deity Brave August Name Firm came up, bearing on the tips of his fingers 1,000-draught rock, and said, Who is it that has come to our land, and thus secretly talks? If that be so, I should like to have a trial of strength. So I should like to begin by taking thine august hand. So on letting him take his august hand, his touch at once turned it into an icicle, and again his touch turned it into a sword blade. So then he was frightened and drew back. Then, on the brave awful possessing male deity wishing to take the hand of the deity Brave August Name Firm, and asking permission to take it in return, he grasped and crushed it as if it were taking a young reed, and cast it aside, upon which the deity Brave August Name Firm fled away. So when the brave awful possessing male deity pursuing after him came up with him at the sea of Suha in the land of Shinano, and was about to slay him, the deity Brave August Name Firm said, I will obey. Slay me not. I will go to no other place but this. Neither will I go against the command of my father, the deity master of the great land. I will not go against the words of the deity Eightfold Thing Sign Master. I will yield up this central land of reed plains according to the command of the august child of the heavenly deities. So they returned again, and asked the deity master of the great land, saying, Thy children, the two deities, the deity Thing Sign Master, and the deity Brave August Name Firm, have said that they will follow, and not go against the commands of the august child of the heavenly deities. So how is thy heart? Then he replied, saying, According as the two deities my children have said, I too will not go against them. In accordance with the heavenly command, I will at once yield up this central land of reed plains. But as to my place of residence, if ye will make stout the temple pillars on the nethermost rock bottom, and make high the cross beams to the plane of high heaven, like the rich and perfect august nest, where the august child of the heavenly deities rules the succession of heaven's sun, and will deign to establish me, I will hide in the 80 road windings, and wait on him. Again, as for my children, the 180 deities, if the deity Eightfold Thing Sign Master will be the deity's august rear protector, and will respectfully serve them, there will be no disobedient deities. Having thus spoken, he hid himself, so in accordance with his word, they built a heavenly august abode on the shore of Tagishi in the land of Izumo. And the deity Wondrous Eight Spirits, grandson of the deity of Water Gates, was made butler to offer up the heavenly august banquet, when, having said prayers, the deity Wondrous Eight Spirits turned into a cormorant, went down to the bottom of the sea, took in his mouth red earth from the bottom, made 80 heavenly platters, and, cutting seaweed stalks, made a fire drill mortar, and made a fire drill pestle out of the stalks of Como, and drilled out fire, saying, This fire which I have drilled will I burn until, in the plain of high heaven, the soot on the heavenly new lattice of the gable of his Augustness, the new wondrous divine producer, the august ancestor, hang down 800 handbreadths. And as for what is below the earth, I will bake down to the nethermost rock bottom, and the fishing sailors, who spread their 1,000-fathom ropes of paper mulberry and angle, having with many shouts drawn in and landed the large-mouthed small-finned perch. I will offer up the heavenly true fish food so that the split bamboos bend. So the brave awful possessing male deity reascended to heaven, and reported how he had subdued and pacified the central land of Reed Plains. Section 30. The August Descent from Heaven of His Augustness the August Grandchild. Then the heaven-shining great august deity and the high integrating deity commanded and charged the heir apparent, His Augustness, truly Conqueror, I conquer swiftly heavenly great ears, saying, the brave awful possessing male deity says that he has now finished pacifying the central land of Reed Plains. So do thou, in accordance with our gracious charge, descend to and dwell in over it. Then the heir apparent, His Augustness, truly Conqueror, I conquer conquering swift heavenly great ears, replied, saying, while I have been getting ready to descend, there has been born to me a child whose name is His Augustness Heaven Plenty Earth Plenty Heaven Sun Height Prince Rice Ear Ruddy Plenty. This child should be sent down. As for this august child, he was augustly joined to her Augustness Myriad Looms Luxuriant Dragonfly Island Princess, daughter of the high integrating deity, and begot children, His Augustness Heavenly Rice Ear Ruddy, and next His Augustness Prince Rice Ear Ruddy Plenty. Therefore, in accordance with these words, they laid their command on His Augustness Prince Rice Ear Ruddy Plenty, deigning to charge him with these words. This luxuriant reed plain land of fresh rice ears is the land over which thou shalt rule. So he replied, I will descend from heaven according to your commands. So when His Augustness Prince Rice Ear Ruddy Plenty was about to descend from heaven, there was at the eight forking road of heaven a deity whose refulgence reached upwards to the plane of high heaven and downwards to the central land of Reed Plains. So when the heaven-shining great august deity and the high integrating deity commanded and charged the heavenly alarming female deity, saying, though thou art but a delicate female, thou art a deity who conquers in facing deities. So be thou the one to go and ask thus, this being the road by which our august child is about to descend from heaven, who is it that is thus there? So to this gracious question he replied, saying, I am an earthly deity named the Deity Prince of Heavenly Deities. I have come humbly to meet him and respectfully offer myself as His Augustness's vanguard. Then joining to him His Augustness Heavenly Beckoning Ancestor Lord, His Augustness Grand Jewel, her Augustness Heavenly Alarming Female, her Augustness Ishikoridome, and His Augustness Jewel Ancestor. In all, 5 chiefs of companies they sent him down from heaven. Thereupon they joined to him the 8-foot-long curved jewels and mirror that had allured the heaven-shining great august deity from the rock-dwelling, and also the herb-quelling greatsword, and likewise the deity Thought-Includer, the hand-strength male deity, and the deity August Spirit, and reverence it as if reverencing us. Next did they say, let the deity Thought-Includer take in hand our affairs and carry on the government. These 2 deities are worshipped at the temple of Isuzu. The next, the deity of luxuriant food, is the deity dwelling in the outer temple of Watarahi. The next, the deity Heavenly Rock Door Opener, another name for whom is the Wondrous Rock True Gate Deity, and another name for whom is the Luxuriant Rock True Gate Deity, this deity of the August Gate. The next, the deity Hand Strength Male, dwells in Sanagata. Now His Augustness, the Heavenly Beckoning Ancestor Lord, is the ancestor of the Nakatomi chieftains. His Augustness Grand Jewel is the ancestor of the Imibe headmen. Her Augustness, the Heavenly Alarming Female, is the ancestress of the Duchess of Saru. Her Augustness Ishikoridome is the ancestress of the Mirror-Making Chieftains. His Augustness Jewel Ancestor is the ancestor of the Jewel Ancestor Chieftains. Section 34. The August Reign in Himuka of His Augustness Prince Rice Ear Ruddy Plenty. So when the heaven-shining great august deity and the high integrating deity commanded His Augustness Heaven's Rice Prince Ear Ruddy Plenty, and he, leaving the heavenly rock seat, pushing asunder the eightfold heavenly spreading clouds, and dividing a road with a mighty road dividing, set off floating, shut up in the floating bridge of heaven, and descended from heaven onto the peak of Kujifuru, which is Takachiho in Tsukushi. So his heavenly great wondrous Augustness, and his Augustness Heaven's round eyes, both taking on their backs the heavenly rock quivers, taking at their side the large mallet-headed swords, taking in their hands the heavenly vegetable wax tree bow, and clasping under their arms the heavenly true deer arrows, stood in his august party in respectful attendance. So his heavenly great wondrous Augustness is the ancestor of the Kume Lords. Thereupon he said, "This place is the opposite to the land of Kara. One comes straight across to the august cape of Kasasa, and it is a land whereon the morning sun shines straight, a land which the evening sun's sunlight illumines. So this place is an exceedingly good place." Having thus spoken, he made stout the temple pillars on the nethermost rock bottom, and made high the crossbeams to the plain of high heaven, and dwelt there. Section 35. The Duchess of Saru. So when he charged her Augustness the heavenly alarming female, saying, "Do thou, who wast the one to make known this great deity Prince of Saruta, who respectfully served as my august vanguard, respectfully escort him back, and do thou likewise bear the august name of that deity, and respectfully serve me." Whereupon the Duchess of Saru bared the name of the male deity, the Prince of Saruta, and the women are Duchesses of Saru. Section 36. The Deity Prince of Saruta at Azaka. Now when this Deity Prince of Saruta dwelt at Azaka, he went out fishing, and had his hand caught by a hirabu shellfish, and was drowned in the brine of the sea. So the name by which he was called when he sank to the bottom was the bottom-touching august spirit. The name by which he was called when the seawater gurgled up was the gurgling up august spirit. The name by which he was called when the bubbles formed was the bubble-bursting august spirit. Thereupon her Augustness the heavenly alarming female, having escorted back the deity Prince of Saruta, came back, and at once drove together all the things broad of fin and of the things narrow of fin, and asked them, saying, "Will ye respectfully serve the august son of the heavenly deities?" Upon which all the fishes declared that they would respectfully serve him. Only the sea cucumber said nothing. Then her Augustness the heavenly alarming female spoke to the sea cucumber, saying, "Ah, this mouth is a mouth that gives no reply," and with these words slit the mouth with her stiletto. So at the present day, the sea cucumber has a slit mouth. Wherefore, from August reign to August reign, when the offerings of the first fruits of Shima are presented to the emperor, a portion of them is granted to the Duchess of Saru. Section 37. The Curse of the Deity Great Mountain Possessor. Hereupon his Augustness Heaven's Sun Height Prince Rice Ear Ruddy Plenty met a beautiful person at the august cape of Kasasa, and asked her whose daughter she was. She replied, saying, "I am a daughter of the deity Great Mountain Possessor, and my name is the Divine Princess of Ata, another name by which I am called being Princess blossoming brilliantly like the flowers of the trees." Again he asked, "Hast thou any sisters?" She replied, saying, "There is my elder sister, Princess Long as the Rocks." Then he charged her, saying, "I am eager to mate with you. What say you?" She replied, saying, "I am not able to say. My father, the deity Great Mountain Possessor, will say." So we sent a request for her to her father, the deity Great Mountain Possessor, who, greatly delighted, respectfully sent her off. Joining to her, her elder sister, Princess Long as the Rocks, and causing merchandise to be carried on tables holding 100. So then, owning to the elder sister being very hideous, His Augustness Prince Rice Ear Ruddy Plenty was alarmed at the sight of her and sent her back, only keeping the younger sister, Princess Blossoming Brilliantly Like the Flowers of the Trees, whom he wedded for one night. Then the deity Great Mountain Possessor was covered with shame at Princess Long as the Rocks being sent back, and sent a message to His Augustness Prince Rice Ear Ruddy Plenty saying, "My reason for respectfully presenting both my daughters together was that, by sending Princess Long as the Rocks, the august offspring of the heavenly deity, through the snowfall and the wind blow, might live eternally immovable like unto the enduring rocks. And again by sending Princess Blossoming Brilliantly Like the Flowers of the Trees, they might live flourishingly like unto the flowering of the blossoms of the trees. To ensure this, I offered them. But owing to thy thus sending back Princess Long as the Rocks, and keeping only Princess Blossoming Brilliantly Like the Flowers of the Trees, the august offspring of the heavenly deity shall but be as frail as the flowers of the trees. So it is for this reason that down to the present day, the august lives of their Augustnesses, the heavenly sovereigns, are not long." Section 38. The august childbearing of Princess Blossoming Brilliantly Like the Flowers of the Trees. So later on, Princess Blossoming Brilliantly Like the Flowers of the Trees waited on His Augustness Prince Rice Ear Ruddy Plenty and said, "I am pregnant, and now the time for my delivery approaches. It is not fit for me to be delivered of the august offspring of heaven privately, so I tell thee." Then His Augustness Prince Rice Ear Plenty said, "Princess Blossoming Brilliantly, what? Pregnant after one night? It cannot be my child. It must surely be the child of an earthly deity." Then she replied saying, "If the child with which I am pregnant be the child of an earthly deity, my delivery will not be fortunate. If it be the august child of the heavenly deity, it will be fortunate." And thereupon she built a hall 8 fathoms long, without doors, went inside the hall and plastered up the entrance with earth. And when the time came for her delivery, she set fire to the hall and was delivered. So the name of the child that was born when the fire was burning most fiercely was His Augustness Fireshine. This is the ancestor of the Hayabito, Dukes of Ata. The name of the child born next was His Augustness Fire Climax. The august name of the child born next was His Augustness Fire Subside. Another name for whom is His Augustness Heaven's Sun Height Prince Great Rice Ears Lord Ears. 3 deities in all. Section 39. The August Exchange of Luck. So His Augustness Fireshine was a prince who got his luck on the sea, and caught things broad of fin and things narrow of fin. His Augustness Fire Subside was a prince who got his luck on the mountains, and caught things rough of hair and things soft of hair. Then His Augustness Fire Subside said to his elder brother His Augustness Fireshine, "Let us mutually exchange, and use each other's luck." Nevertheless, though he thrice made the request, his elder brother would not accede to it, but at last with difficulty the mutual exchange was obtained. Then His Augustness Fire Subside, undertaking the sea luck, angled for fish, but never got a single fish, and moreover he lost the fishhook in the sea. Thereupon his elder brother His Augustness Fireshine asked him for the fishhook, saying, "A mountain luck is a luck of its own, and a sea luck is a luck of its own. Let each of us now restore to the other his luck." To which the younger brother His Augustness Fire Subside replied, saying, "As for thy fishhook, I did not get a single fish by angling with it, and at last I lost it in the sea." But the elder brother required it of him the more urgently, So the younger brother, breaking his 10-grasp saber that was augustly girded on him, made of the fragments 500 fishhooks as compensation. But he would not take them. Again, he made 1,000 fishhooks as compensation, but he would not receive them, saying, "I still want the real, original fishhook." Section 40. The Palace of the Ocean Possessor. Hereupon, as the younger brother was weeping and lamenting by the seashore, the deity Salt Possessor came and asked him, saying, "What is the cause of the sky sun height's weeping and lamentation?" He replied, saying, "I had exchanged a fishhook with my elder brother, and have lost that fishhook. And he asks me for it. I have given him many fishhooks as compensation, but he will not receive them, saying, 'I still want the original fishhook.' So I weep and lament for this." Then the deity Salt Possessor said, "I will give good counsel to thine Augustness," and therewith built a stout little boat without interstices, and set him in the boat, and instructed him, saying, "When I shall have pushed the boat off, go on for some time. There will be a savory August road, and if thou goest in the boat along that road, there will appear a palace built like fish's scales, which is the palace of the deity, Ocean Possessor. When thou reachest the August gate of that deity's palace, there will be a multitudinously branching cassia tree above the well at its side. So if thou sit on the top of that tree, the sea deity's daughter will see thee and counsel thee." So following these instructions, His Augustness Fire Subside went a little way, and everything happened as the deity Salt Possessor had said. And he forthwith climbed the cassia tree and sat there. Then when the handmaidens of the sea deity's daughter, luxuriant Jewel Princess, bearing jeweled vessels, were about to draw water, there was a light in the well. On looking up, there was a beautiful young man. They thought it very strange. Then His Augustness Fire Subside saw the handmaidens, and begged to be given some water. The handmaidens at once drew some water, put it into a jeweled vessel, and respectfully presented it to him. Then, without drinking the water, he loosened the jewel at his august neck, took it in his mouth, and spat it into the jeweled vessel. Thereupon the jewel adhered to the vessel, and the handmaidens could not separate the jewel. So they took it with the jewel adhering to it, and presented it to her Augustness the luxuriant Jewel Princess. Then, seeing the jewel, she asked her handmaidens, saying, "Is there perhaps someone outside the gate?" They replied, saying, "There is someone sitting on top of the cassia tree above our well. It is a very beautiful young man. He is more illustrious than even our king. Lo, as he begged for water, we respectfully gave him water. But, without drinking the water, he spat this jewel into the vessel. As we were not able to separate this from the other, we have brought the vessel with the jewel in it to present to thee." Then her Augustness luxuriant Jewel Princess, thinking it strange, went out to look, and was forthwith delighted at the sight. They exchanged glances, after which she spoke to her father, saying, "There is a beautiful person at our gate." Then the sea deity himself went out to look, and saying, "This person is the sky's sun height, the august child of the heaven's sun height," led him into the interior of the palace, and spreading 8 layers of rugs of sea lion skins, and spreading on the top other 8 layers of silk rugs, and setting him on top of them, arranged merchandise on tables holding 100, made an august banquet, and forthwith gave him his daughter luxuriant Jewel Princess in marriage. So he dwelt in that land for 3 years. Hereupon His Augustness Fire Subside thought of what had gone before, and heaved one deep sigh. So her Augustness luxuriant Jewel Princess, hearing the sigh, informed her father, saying, "Though he has dwelt 3 years with us, he has never sighed, but this night he heaved one deep sigh. What may be the cause of it?" The great deity, her father, asked his son-in-law, saying, "This morning I heard my daughter speak, saying, though he has dwelt 3 years with us, he had never sighed, but this night he heaved one deep sigh. What may the cause be?" Moreover, what was the cause of thy coming here?" Then His Augustness Fire Subside told the great deity exactly how his elder brother had pressed him for the lost fishhook. Thereupon the sea deity summoned together all the fishes of the sea, great and small, and asked them, saying, "Is there perchance any fish that has taken this fishhook?" So all the fishes replied, "Lately the tahi has complained of something sticking in its throat preventing it from eating, so it doubtless has taken the hook." On the throat of the tahi being thereupon examined, there was the fishhook in it. Being forthwith taken, it was washed and respectfully presented to His Augustness Fire Subside, whom the deity Great Ocean Possessor then instructed, saying, "What thou shalt say when thou grantest this fishhook to thine elder brother is as follows. This fishhook is a big hook, an eager hook, a poor hook, a silly hook. Having thus spoken, bestow it with thy backhand. Having done thus, if thine elder brother make high fields, do thine Augustness make low fields. And if thine elder brother make low fields, do thine Augustness make high fields. If thou do thus, thine elder brother will certainly be impoverished in the space of 3 years, owing to my ruling the water. If thine elder brother, incensed at thy doing thus, should attack thee, put forth the tide-flowing jewel to drown him. If he expresses grief, put forth the tide-ebbing jewel to let him live. Thus shalt thou harass him." With these words, the sea deity gave to His Augustness Fire Subside the tide-flowing jewel and the tide-ebbing jewel, 2 in all, and forthwith summoned together all the crocodiles and asked them, saying, "The sky's sun height, august child of the heaven's sun height, is now about to proceed out to the upper land. Who will in how many days respectfully escort him and bring back a report?" So each, according to the length of his body in fathoms, spoke, fixing a certain number of days. One of them, a crocodile 1 fathom long, saying, "I will escort him, and come back in 1 day." So then the sea deity said to the crocodile 1 fathom long, "If that be so, do thou respectfully escort him. While crossing the middle of the sea, do not alarm him." Forthwith he seated him upon the crocodile's head and saw him off. So the crocodile respectfully escorted him home in 1 day, as he had promised. When the crocodile was about to return, His Augustness Fire Subside untied the stiletto which was girded on him, and, setting it on the crocodile's neck, sent the latter back. So the crocodile 1 fathom long is now called the Deity Blade Possessor. Section 42. The Parturition House of Cormorant's Feathers. Hereupon, the sea deity's daughter, her Augustness Luxuriant Jewel Princess herself waited on His Augustness Fire Subside, and said, "I am already with child, and the time for my delivery now approaches. But I thought that the august child of an heavenly deity ought not to be born in the seaplane. So I have waited on thee here." Then forthwith, on the limit of the waves upon the seashore, she built a parturition hall, using cormorant's feathers for thatch. Hereupon, before the thatch was completed, she was unable to restrain the urgency of her august womb. So she entered the parturition hall. Then, when she was about to be delivered, she spoke to her husband, saying, "Whenever a foreigner is about to be delivered, she takes the shape of her native land to be delivered. So I now will take my native shape to be delivered. Pray look not upon me." Hereupon His Augustness Fire Subside, thinking these words strange, stealthily peeped at the very moment of delivery, when she turned into a crocodile 8 fathoms long and crawled and writhed about, and he forthwith, terrified at the sight, fled away. Then her Augustness Luxuriant Jewel Princess knew that he had peeped, and she felt ashamed, and, straightway leaving the august child which he had borne, she said, "I had wished always to come and go across the sea path. But thy having peeped at my real shape makes me very shamefaced." And she forthwith closed the sea boundary, and went down again. Therefore, the name by which the August child whom she had borne was called His Augustness Heaven Sun Height Prince Wave Limit Brave Cormorant Thatch Meeting incompletely. Nevertheless, afterwards, although angry at his having wished to peep, she could not restrain her loving heart, and she entrusted to her younger sister Jewel Good Princess, on the occasion of her nursing the August child, a song to be presented to His Augustness Fire Subside. The song said, "As for red jewels, though even the string they are strung on shines, the aspect of my lord who is like unto white jewels is more illustrious." Then her husband replied by a song which said, "As for my younger sister, whom I take to sleep with me on the island where light the wild duck, the birds of the offing, I shall not forget her till the end of my life." So His Augustness Prince Great Rice Ears Lord Ears dwelt in the palace of Takachiho for 580 years. His August Mausoleum is likewise on the west of Mount Takachiho,